Michael Jackson, a man who wanted to defeat nature, hated four things. He hated his blackness. He wanted to look like whites. He hated anonymity. He wanted to be the most famous person in the world. He hated his past. He wanted to erase his past from himself. He hated to die at the age of 70, 80 years like ordinary people. He wanted to live for 150 years. He wanted to be a singer who danced in front of millions of people at the age of 50, sang his last song, kissed his 25-year-old girlfriend on the forehead, and left the world in front of millions of fans. Michael Jackson's later life was spent fulfilling these four wishes. He launched his second album, Thriller, in 1982, which was the highest-selling album in the world. It sold 6.5 million copies in a month and became part of the Guinness Book of World Records. Michael Jackson was now the most famous singer in the world. He had overcome anonymity. Michael then decided to defeat his dark skin and started plastic surgery, hiring 55 top plastic surgeons in America and Europe. Until 1987, Michael Jackson's entire appearance, skin, impressions, and movements have changed. Instead of the black Michael Jackson, a beautiful Michael Jackson, the owner of white and brownish impressions, appeared in front of the world. Thus, he also defeated his dark complexion. Then came the turn of the past. Michael Jackson began to run away from his past. He cut ties with his family. He changed his addresses, got white parents, and got rid of all old friends. During all these steps, where he became lonely, he also got caught in the vortex of artificial life. He married Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of Elvis Presley, to make himself famous. He also erected large statues of himself in Europe and fathered his first son, Prince Michael, with nurse Debbie Rowe through artificial insemination. His daughter Paris Michael was also born from Debbie Rowe's womb. This effort was also successful. He got rid of his past to a large extent. Now it was the turn of his last wish. He wanted to live for 150 years. Michael Jackson used to do interesting things to live longer. For example, he slept in an oxygen tent at night. He shook hands with people by wearing gloves to avoid the effects of germs, viruses, and diseases. He used to put a mask on his face before going among people. He had a special diet and employed 12 doctors permanently. This doctor used to examine every part of his body every day. His diet was also tested daily in the laboratory, and his staff also made him exercise daily. He spared himself lungs, kidneys, eyes, heart, and liver had also been arranged. These were the donors, all the expenses of which Michael was bearing, and these donors were to donate their organs to him in time of need. So he was sure that he would live for 150 years. But then the night of 25th June came. He had difficulty in breathing. His doctors gathered senior doctors from all over the country at his residence. These doctors tried to save him from death, but failed and took him to the hospital. Gone. The man who had a 150-year plan, who did not walk on the ground barefoot, who put on gloves before shaking hands with anyone, whose house was sprayed with disinfectants daily, and who had 25 for a year, he had not eaten anything that the doctors had forbidden him to eat. The man died at the age of only 50 years, and in just 30 minutes. His soul flew out of the body in the blink of an eye. 8 million people read the news of Michael Jackson's death on Google in 10 minutes. This was a record in the history of Google, and due to this heavy traffic, Google's system went down, and the company had to apologize to its users for 25 minutes. Michael Jackson's autopsy revealed that due to extreme care, his body had become skeletal. He was bald from the head. His ribs were broken. He had needles in his hip, shoulder, ribs, and legs. He had become in need of painkillers due to plastic surgery. So he used to get dozens of injections daily. But these injections, these precautions, and even these doctors could not save him from death. And one day he left quietly, and his last wish could not be fulfilled. Michael Jackson's death is a declaration. Man can conquer the whole world, but he cannot defeat his destiny. He cannot resist death and the author of that death, be it a rock star or a pharaoh. He cannot avoid a 2-ton load of soil. He cannot defeat death. But it is surprising that even after the demise of Michael Jackson, we still consider ourselves as the man of steel. We think that if we cheat death, we will surely live 150 years.